Did we just get teased a fourth game in the Bravely Default saga, or maybe a remastered of the original one? A new gameplay trailer for Octopath Traveler 2 dropped, and Trails to Azure is coming to the West in 2023. That is all to unpack in today's JRPG News Corner. Welcome all gamers and JRPG enjoyers. My name is Kratos and I'll be your host today for the JRPG News Corner. We have a lot to unpack, so let's just get right into it, because today I took a couple of days off again and then all the news started dropping, so let's just get into it. So beginning with the quick news, Final Fantasy VII First Soldier is going to get canned after only a little bit over a year after being released in January. Just thought I'd bring it up there because it's a Final Fantasy game. This game was a mobile battle royale, which no one really cared about, so you know, it's gone. Goodbye, have a good time. Sad for the players who loved it, but you know, it is what it is. Next up, our next story is a little bit of a sad one. Tri-Ace, the developers behind Star Ocean the Divine Force, which is coming out later this year, are facing bankruptcy. So apparently them and Square have had a little bit of issues here, money wise, and they are kind of facing bankruptcy right now. And Star Ocean the Divine Force, which is coming out later this year, is kind of like their last hurrah towards maybe surviving, maybe staying afloat. So if you're a fan of the Star Ocean franchise and you're a fan of the Tri-Ace studio that have been working on these games, I mean, the next one is the best way to help them out. But there's also a new gameplay trailer for Marielle that also dropped amidst all that news. But you know, the studio's in trouble. Hopefully they can muster out enough sales during the release of Star Ocean the Divine Force to stay afloat. I wish them all the best. Hopefully, if you're a fan of the franchise, I guess you're gonna have to support the next game if it's good. Next up, we have more Fire Emblem Engage news. As you guys, I told you a couple of weeks ago, there's new character profiles and gameplay coming out every Friday on their Twitter and Monday on their Twitter. We are now able to see Celine and Louis in action, or Louis, I should say, in action. They also showcased a little bit of Celica and her engage attack with Celine, so they'll be linked together, as you can see on the screen right now. And Fog of War is back. Fog of War is back, and also the torches are back that you could light up to make the Fog of War a little bit less daunting in games like Radiant Dawn and Path of Radiance. So again, new stuff always on their Twitter every Monday and Friday. And there's also Serene Forest, which is a fan site that retweets everything in English, because the official Fire Emblem Twitter page is all in Japanese, and Serene Forest are doing a great job just retweeting everything with the translations, so that fans can know what's going on without having to use the Google Translate tool, which can sometimes be inaccurate at times. And next up in the quick news, Tactics Ogre Reborn has dropped a ton of information recently. It's looking more like a remake than a remaster to me at the moment, which is quite exciting. I wanted to talk more about it, but I'm just going to put in the quick news here because I'll be dropping a link to the Gematsu article that I read. It is very long. I could be making a whole video out of it. That's why I didn't want to put it deeper in the bigger items, because I didn't have time to cover everything that's happening. But if you want to check it out, it's going to be down in the description below. Also, if you want me to make a whole video on all the changes they're making, all the things that they announced recently, just tell me in the comment section, and if there's any interest, I'll do it. You know, we'll just get on that. All right, moving on to some bigger items that dropped during the week. Trinity Trigger, which the trailer dropped at the start of September. We've known about this game for a little bit, but there'll be a day one edition, which will include the physical soundtrack and a nice little box that goes with it. So if you're kind of a collector, you might want to pick that up. So for those who don't know, because we didn't cover it in the first JRPG News Corner we did, it takes the vibes of old school JRPGs. It's set to be the spiritual sequel to Chrono Trigger and Secret of Mana. The game has also been announced that it'll be released on PS5, PS4, and the Switch. There's also a lot of fan interest around the game because, you know, as a spiritual sequel to some of these big fan favorite JRPGs of old, but also the local co-op in the game, which will be really a fun addition to the more action RPG-esque gameplay that they're showcasing. So I can't wait to see what it's all going to be all about. I'm probably going to be picking up, probably not the day one edition, because I don't, you know, maybe the music's going to be great, but I'm not the kind of person to buy soundtracks of video games. So tell me, are you going to be picking up Trinity Trigger down in the comment section? Next up, we have a little bit of I didn't decide to put it in the bigger items because I think we could bring some attention to it. There's a new Kickstarter up, the Tears of Magic Kickstarter. It's an RPG inspired by Breath of Fire. They're trying to do a little bit like the team that did Ayuden Chronicles did with the Suikoden franchise. They're trying to, you know, garner a lot of fan interest around a franchise that has been kind of forgotten by the developers by creating a game that is kind of a spiritual sequel again, kind of like we just saw with Trinity Trigger. The game is kind of pixel arty. They're almost halfway to their goal, and there's 15 days left to the campaign. So I looked at it a little bit at the trailer. I thought it looked okay. Of course, it's alpha or like very early footage, so I'm not judging it too harshly. I'm not a big fan of Breath of Fire. I have never played myself, but if you are, it might be worth taking a look at this Kickstarter. I'll leave the link in the description below, so you can go take a look at the Kickstarter if you want to support it, if you want to back it or whatever. I'll keep an eye on it. I'll try to see as it evolves. If it's starting to look like something I may want to pick up in the future. The third item on our list is Octopath Traveler, the collector's edition. It will come, however, with a steep price tag of 180 USD. So that is very expensive for the collector's edition. It comes with an art book, a soundtrack, a steel book, which is all nice, but I think what is boosting up the price from what we see with usual collector's edition is the little metal figurines that are coming with it. So, you know, feel free to take a look at it. It looks nice, you know, they look all nice, but I'm probably not gonna be picking up a collector's edition at that price, because for me that's around like $230 with taxes and everything. So like, it's not worth the hassle. They look nice, but I probably will not be picking it up. But if you're a huge collector, I mean, it's there. And on top of that, there has been new gameplay that has been showcased, which shows off a little bit more of the battles system, which they look about the same as in the previous game, but they did add a lot of visual upgrades to it, with the camera panning from behind the characters when they do big attacks to panning to the side, the characters having a little bit more movement, a little bit more they look a little bit more polished in the battles. We all knew that Octopath Traveler, the original one, looked fantastic. But this shows the cream of the crop in terms of the HD 2D genre of JRPGs we've been seeing in the past few years. I think they put a lot of effort to make it look very, very good, and I think you can see that in the trailer right now. So I'm very, very excited every time I see new gameplay of Octopath Traveler 2, so I can't wait to pick it up next year in 2023. Next up, Trails to Azure. The sequels to Trails from Zero, which came out earlier this week, is coming out of the West. We're finally getting it in the West, a localization in English, and I think other languages, but you know, I think the big one is English for the American market. It's coming March 14th in 2023. Previously, it had only been released in Japan in 2011. There had been a fan-made localization in 2018, but this is an official one from the devs themselves. I'm sure we'll see more gameplay as we advance throughout the year, and they'll probably release some kind of cool launch edition, collector's edition that we should be seeing by then. The trailer is very much a story trailer. It seems to continue the story from the last game, which I haven't finished. I'm still playing. I will be streaming it more on this channel soon enough. But I think there might be new characters in this one, from what I realized, from what I saw. But I don't know much about the Trail series, so let me know if I'm wrong down in the comment section below. And our final story, the big one, is about Bravely Default, a fan favorite JRPG of the past few years. A lot of people talk about Bravely Default. I've never played myself, but I know it gathers a lot of interest. That's why I decided to put it in the main story for today. So recently enough, there was a 10-year celebration, which some of you guys may have watched. I did not watch it all. I looked at the news article. I think it was all in Japanese, so that's why I probably didn't watch it. Or maybe I just didn't see it come through my feed. But they talked about a lot of things, but two of the main things that came out was that Bravely Remastered might be a thing. Apparently it was teased, it was talked about on the panel. Apparently some people brought it up, and it piqued the interest of fans, because, you know, a remaster of this game after 10 years would be awesome on next-gen consoles to see what they could do with it. But I've also seen online some people talk about if it were to remaster it, quote unquote, they would like it to see more of a remake, because I don't know the end of the story, but apparently there's a couple of things that may be problematic in the game. I'm not sure, I've never played it. I'm gonna play it eventually. So it's kind of like we're seeing this remaster pop up, and some people are asking for a full-on remake, which, you know, could be interesting, but it's just tease. It's just speculations at this point. Don't take my word for it. I'm just out here telling you guys what I see online. I'm not an insider on any level. Those are just rumors that I heard online. And in the rumor mill, Bravely Default 3 or 3rd, we know that they're working on a game. Like, it hasn't been announced, but of course they'll be working on the 4th game in the saga, knowing, you know, that it sells very well. It's a very popular game, but they did talk about it on the panel. They did mention that if there were to be a next game, would people want it to be called Bravely Default 3 or Bravely Default third. Which, you know, it's just wording at this point, but as you guys know, the original Bravely Default is Bravely Default, then it was Bravely the second, then it was Bravely Default 2, and now they're like, oh, do we do 3, or do we do 3, or do we do the third? You know, it's just, at this point, it's just naming conventions. But they did talk about it in a joking manner, it seemed, on the panel from the little clips I saw. But at this point, I'm gonna, like, we kind of know, it's kind of like they're kind of working on it. It'd be dumb for them not to release a new game, knowing the success, the growing success of this franchise, especially for Octopath Traveler 2, knowing that that's garnering a lot of interest, and knowing that these games are kind of linked at the, you know, at the hip, knowing that both games are super popular. They share some kind of, not exactly art style in the game, but, like, you know, a lot of the arts around the characters are shared. And even there's the mobile game of Octopath, which is doing a crossover with Bravely Default. Lots of signs are pointing that this is happening, but, you know, again, rumors, speculations. Don't take my word for it, but I could see it happening. All right, that runs through all the news of the JRPG. I mean, not all of them. I probably kept some stuff out, probably some trailers and stuff that dropped, or some more information here and there from certain games. But, you know, I'm trying to keep these quite quick enough. So if there's anything I missed, feel free to put it down in the comment section below. If you want me to do a whole video detailing the Tactics Ogre changes and addition and things that was released by Square, let me know. Just tell me in the comments, and we'll if there's enough interest, I might look into doing that. Other than that, this has been your JRPG News Corners. I'm Kratos. Leave a like if you like, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Love y'all very much. Bye bye.